Welcome, Rangers. We have an assignment for you. The Empire may have destroyed itself to bring down the vile Witch King, but plenty of lingering threats remain, as does our duty to protect our people. So, gather up your steel, your wit, and your resources, and ride into the countryside, for our work is just beginning in Oltréé.
Oltréé is a fully cooperative game designed by Antoine Bauza and Grümph and featuring Vincent Dutrait's signature gorgeous artwork. It's published by Studio H, who have outdone themselves in the production of this beautiful game, but we'll take a closer look at that in a moment.
In Oltréé, players take on the roles of gallant rangers who have been assigned to establish and maintain the peace in their territory, as well as build up and develop their fortress to better protect the community.
What this translates to in gameplay is that all players will spend their turns traveling around the board to gather resources to construct buildings and towers in their fortress, as well as dealing with local threats and opportunities to help people.
And all the while, players must keep an eye on the Chronicle, the particular scenario they're up against that session, which will provide evolving challenges as well as the ultimate victory and loss results for the game.
Each ranger is slightly unique, featuring their particular profession and special ability. These professions will make each ranger better at certain types of challenges, and their unique abilities give them situational advantages, which will be invaluable as players work together throughout the game.
As rangers move around the board, they can entreat the community for assistance, mostly in the form of resources. These resources are generally spent to address the problems the rangers encounter, or to facilitate the construction of buildings and towers back at the fortress, which provide the rangers with bonuses in the form of defense, prestige, and extra dice for tackling future challenges.
Each game of Oltréé is driven by the Chronicle, an overarching scenario that defines that gameplay session. The Chronicle unfolds as players take their turns, providing the narrative path that players must negotiate, as well as altering the board state with new challenges and opportunities for the Rangers to tackle. Finally, the closing pages of the Chronicle will give the players their ultimate victory condition that the Rangers must work together to achieve, or lose in the failing.
Oltréé comes with 6 Chronicles, 1 shorter introductory session that's perfect for first playthroughs, and 5 longer, more challenging and complex scenarios. Adding variety to the mix are assignments, incidents, problems, and events.
Players will pick an assignment during setup, which will feature goals outside the Chronicle that benefit the players if they're completed. The assignment also determines which 2 decks of incident cards will be shuffled together and randomly scattered over the board for that game.
Incidents are situations that the Rangers must address as they travel the land and provide a variety of different challenges and opportunities, along with some narrative flair to go along with them. The player dealing with an incident won't know exactly what the outcome of the decisions they make will be, as the other player will read the card to them and ask them to make any necessary choices without revealing the results. Problems plague communities across the land, preventing Rangers from accessing resources until the problems are dealt with. And finally, events are triggered periodically and can alter the game state in either a one-time or ongoing way.
Now, Team Gameosity thinks that replayability in games is a tricky topic that's difficult to quantify. We actually did a whole podcast episode on it. But for folks who might see 6 scenarios and think that Oltréé will only offer 6 unique playthroughs, we feel that there's a ton of variety created by the random combinations of chronicles, assignments, incidents, problems, and events. No 2 games will ever play the same way, even if you're playing against a chronicle you've already challenged before, and there's already an expansion for Oltréé in the works that will deliver, among other things, even more chronicles. So, as far as variety goes, we think Oltréé has you covered.
Which is fantastic, because we found Oltréé to be a game we want to play again and again. As a fully cooperative game, the overall experience is akin to some others in the genre. The players have some very specific goals, and the game constantly lights fires and puts up roadblocks to challenge the players and complicate their lives. And like many cooperative games, between the many points of randomization and the ever-advancing threats presented by the Chronicle, Oltréé can sometimes be overwhelming, but it never felt impossible. Mostly.
Now that said, players do have to work together to use their limited resources in turns, but Oltréé's clever design prevents it from being just a very formulaic action economy puzzle. For example, incident cards fall into categories that players can see when the cards are face down, but no two cards are the same even if they're the same sort of card, meaning that perfectly predicting what sort of challenge you're facing is impossible, which we found added moments of excitement and tragedy, and made it very difficult for one player to run the table. Though, as an aside, we strongly feel that quarterbacking is a social problem, not a game design problem, and it should be addressed by talking to your fellow players, and it isn't up to a game to solve. Talk to each other. Play nice. Now, another thing that made us want to get Oltréé to the table is how easy the mechanics are to engage. Oltréé isn't a complex game, mechanically speaking. The per-turn actions are straightforward enough. The challenge and fun of Oltréé is in the unfolding, unpredictable nature of the Chronicle and the incident cards, and the joy of scrambling to meet an objective just in time to gain an advantage at a critical moment or to shore up against a looming threat. And since the game is fully cooperative, it's very easy to teach and engage right from the beginning.
Finally, we simply have to talk about the presentation. It has been said elsewhere that Oltréé at retail feels like a deluxe crowdfunded edition, and we totally agree. From the board to the oversized Chronicle cards to the wooden tokens and unique Ranger meeples, Oltréé is so luxurious that you'll swear you accidentally got an upgraded deluxe edition by accident. Nearly every card features unique, gorgeous artwork, and even the box insert is amazing. Every aspect of the game is phenomenally produced.
Well, not every aspect. This 8-sided die is so generic it hurts my soul. But that aside, everything else is gorgeous, and Oltréé sits stunningly on the table.
And while we don't generally think that one game replaces another, sometimes comparisons are useful. Oltréé features some gameplay feel that is reminiscent of Ghost Stories or Last Bastion, both also designed by Antoine Bauza. Players have limited movement and actions, and are essentially trying to be everywhere at once, dealing with the challenges and progressing towards their goals, while the game does its best to make it feel impossible.
Now, we enjoy Ghost Stories and Last Bastion, so we mean the comparison as a compliment, but to be clear, Oltréé is not a reimplementation of these other games. It simply shares some of the same gameplay beats. Instead of ceaselessly advancing hordes of enemies, Oltréé focuses more on narrative challenges, and even gives players the ability to give themselves advantages as they build up and develop their fortress. Are the game's cousins? Absolutely. But we feel Oltréé is unique in a lot of meaningful ways, and it doesn't compete for the same space on our shelves.
So ultimately, we strongly recommend Oltréé for the co-op lovers in the room, especially those who want to take the time to read the narrative snippets and really get into the theme. But even for those who will ignore the flavor text entirely, Oltréé has plenty to offer in terms of its variety, challenge, and presentation. Studio H has done a great job with this one, and we're already excited for the upcoming expansion. So if you're in the market for a fun, cooperative game with lots of narrative flair and fantastic production, we definitely recommend you check out Oltréé.
Hey, Meeple and I thank you for watching. If you want to see more of our reviews, please click on either of these playlists. One of them is our full-length review series, and the other one is Game in a Minute, where we tell you everything you need to know about a game in about 60 seconds. If you'd like to subscribe, please click the G and ring the bell so that you get a notification every time we publish. And if you like what we do and want to support us, please check out links to our Patreon below. We'll see you next game. Flesh and blood.